Here I am. I'm at the Old Dungeon Gill Hotel, where there's a hiker's bar, which I hope to make the end point of my journey here. But I'm just about to start my very first fell walk. This is going to take me around the Langdale Pikes. If you're a Sherlockian, you can understand the appeal of this particular walk. It's kind of irresistible. It's a beautiful 6-mile circuit. Should take me to quite high peaks at some point. There are some challenging scrambles, but overall I think it's going to be a beautiful day. I'm kind of bundled up here because the elevation is high, but really it's a very temperate day. Even though there was rain in the forecast, I've got blue skies. On the other side here, you can see the landscape all around is absolutely stunning, and it should be a beautiful day for a few hours up and down the fells of the Lake District. Pretty astonishing that it's the 21st of September and the weather is this nice. Can you believe this? Sound of birds, sheep, this lovely little beck here, stream, and it's high 50s, very little wind, and the tops of the fells aren't even obscured by rainy mist. I'm pretty astonished. I'm excited to get on my way here. Right, first style of the day. Here we go. My goal is to make it all the way around and back in time for a pint and a nice meal at the pub before getting the bus back to Ambleside and then Windermere. And the first place on my circuit here is Stickle Tarn, so that's where I'm headed now. It's a considerable initial ascent up from the dale, the valley, but it's so beautiful up along Stickle Gill. Gill is a river, has these lovely courses. Courses are little waterfalls. You can see I'm working on my fell walking lingo. So I'm headed up to that course there. I've already been up halfway from the bottom of the valley, and I'm a little surprised that I haven't come across any other walkers. I was given to understand that this is quite a popular circuit with tourists, but maybe the time of year, maybe the weather forecast, which turned out to be wrong, thank goodness, has kept other people away, so I haven't met very many other people along the way. For all I can tell, it's just me and the sheep out here, which is perfectly fine with me. Sheeps! Can you believe what a beautiful place this is? I love it. There's my route. One of the things about these right-of-way paths is, of course, that there's people's livestock grazing in the fields. So there are stiles and walls all the way around. And sometimes the stiles open, and sometimes they're gates. But other times, you just have to hop over them. So I guess it pays to be agile. Not my most flattering angle, I'm afraid. And on we go. I knew, of course, that this would be a soggy day. Even though it's not raining, of course, it's a very wet sort of hobby to have. You're going to be sort of jumping across streams and rivers and stepping stones, and the land is very boggy. So I had the good sense yesterday to step in a bunch of puddles so that my shoes would be soaked through. And when I put them on this morning, I'd be miserable. But when I stepped in puddles this afternoon, I'd hardly notice. Clever. So I'm just having my first encounter with some unique local fauna. We have slugs at home, but nothing quite like this bugger. Look at this guy. Hello. Just for reference, That's my whole hand there. He's the size of my whole hand. Pretty cool, huh? Not much, but that was first proper little scramble. Scramble is the word for an ascent that requires your hands as well as your feet. That one wasn't very long, but hard to get up just walking it, so I expect I'll have some more of those. It's a nice view down to the Dale. All the way down there is the road that I came in on, so I've had quite an ascent so far. Still have a bit of a ways to go before I get to Stickle Tarn, but not that much longer, I expect. Just did quite a precipitous little scramble. Fortunately, I guess I have pretty good balance, and it's going to come in handy because I have to cross Stickle Gill. There are stepping stones there, and let's hope I don't fall in. Ha! I didn't fall in this time. Maybe on the way down, I'll save it. And I've made it up to the top of Stickle Gill, and what you find up here is this lovely, calm body of water right nestled in the middle of some peaks. This is Stickle Tarn. I didn't know what a tarn was, actually. My only experience with the word was from the Edgar Allan Poe story, Fall of the House of Usher, in which the tarn is a terrible, stagnant pool in front of the doomed house of Usher. And so I always associated the word tarn with that kind of stagnant, nasty water. But apparently, a tarn is a small lake up in mountains. And I did not know that, and now I know. And look how beautiful it is. Look how clear the water is. You can see all the rocks down inside, and it's very relaxing and beautiful. And probably I'll pause soon for a drink of water and a Jaffa cake, because goddammit, I earned a Jaffa cake. And then I'm going to carry along over some more pikes. I've gotten high enough now that it's not raining, but there's mist in the air, so as I walk I'm getting a bit wet, which is no problem. I don't mind that. After all, I just crossed over Stickle Gill twice, and my feet are already squelchy. If I don't have trench foot by the time I get home, it'll be a miracle. But that's fine. Fair price to pay. I knew I was going to get soggy. It's the way the old stickle crumbles, or something. Well, bogs. This boggy, peaty bogland here, I have to now cross, making me feel a bit like I'm the villain in Hound of the Baskervilles, and I think I'm gonna go down into the mire, but hopefully that won't happen because I really want that other Jaffa cake. So, bog it is. So, bogs, in case you were wondering, not a fan. And I now finally understand how the Grimpen Mire works in Hound of the Baskervilles. How it's possible for you to take a step and be on safe ground, and take a step 6 inches to the left and your whole foot sinks. And if I continued on that ground, I probably would have got stuck. Just in case you're wondering, there are rocks, and the boggy marsh is above the rocks, and if you step on the bogland and there's a rock underneath, you're good. The rock will hold you up. And if you step and there's no rock underneath, well, you're Stapletoned. I did manage to get across though, and I'm going to carry on now. is Pavey Arc. Top of that summit is my next destination. Be following this path here to the right. I'm certainly not going to scale this rake, this cliffside. I'm going to go around the other side where the ascent is more smooth. But yeah, I'm going to get to the top of that, and then I'll deserve another fucking Jaffa cake for sure. I made it to the top of Pavey Arc. I'm assured by a local that that's how it's pronounced. You can see that it was quite a steep ascent. So there's Stickle Tarn, looking a little bit small, and all the way down there, the road that I came in on was my ascent. From the Tarn up here, it was a considerable scramble, lots of gripping with the hands rather than just walking up. Really glad that I've been doing sword fighting for a couple of years now, because I'm not sure that I'd be fit enough to do this otherwise. Based on the time that I have here and the strenuousness of the ascent I've just done, and also that mist is starting to come down, so you can see that that the clouds are starting to descend, which if they get low enough to engulf the peaks up here, it can become quite dangerous. So I'm going to probably make my way around in a circuit that's smaller than the one I'd intended. This is a considerably high peak, the one that I'm on now. And from Harrison Stickle, I'll start to descend back down to the Tarn and make my way back to the pub, where I will have a very well-deserved meal and however many beers there is time for before my bus arrives. So that's the goal. Well, here I am back down at the bottom. For some reason my phone decided to shut off immediately following my my recording at the top of Pavey Arc. I'm not sure why that happened, but I tried to turn it on again once I got down to the bottom, and here it is, perfectly capable of doing its thing. So I don't know what that was all about, but I did manage to make it to the bottom, which was exciting, though I think my body, it already sort of hates me, and it's definitely going to hate me tomorrow, especially my feet, which are a mess after, you know, walking in bog water in the first hour or so, and then marching on gamely for another 5 hours of hiking and fell walking and scrambling. But it was all worth it, because what an astonishing experience. I'm back down here where I started, at the old Dungeon Gill Hotel, which is a beautiful historic location. It has been here serving fell walkers for 300 years, and I did just have my my celebratory pint of local bitter, as is, I think, the tradition for successful fell walkers. But if you want an idea of what it is I actually did, well, this is where I started, and the recording from the top of Pavey's Arc, that's where I was sitting, on the top of that, which was a matter of some extraordinary scrambles, a lot of mucking through bogs and jumping over boulders to get from stream to stream. I've learned rather a lot of the procedure, what to do and what not to do. I've become very grateful for cairns from previous walkers, as well as oddly enough, I've become very grateful for sheep shit, which always seemed to indicate to me that I was in a place that was at least safe enough for sheep to shit. So not somewhere I was going to get sucked down into the bottom of the bog or something. I only slipped and fell on my ass once, which I think was pretty good, all things considered. And yeah, what an extraordinary experience. I didn't make the whole circuit that I had intended to make, but I don't really feel badly about that. It was an exhausting walk to the top, and quite frankly, by the time I got there, I was so damn impressed with myself that I just wanted to sit and eat a Jaffa cake, and then come back down. And there's a sheep staring at me. Look at this guy. He's like, I don't know what the fuck you're doing. Why are you recording this right now? But I'm going to stare at you because you're being awkward. You're being awkward. I love these sheep. Oh, they've all come now. Look, I've got a whole fan club and they're gone. Fickle. Sheep are fickle fans. There's nothing else to say about it. What I did also discover is that the culture of fell walking is quite remarkable, and meeting people as you're going up and coming down creates a lovely sense of solidarity. So when I got to the top of Paviark, there were 3 people, 1 couple and 1 lone gentleman, and the lone gentleman was an experienced fell walker, and the couple were not experienced, and the experienced gentleman was giving a kind of little lecture on where we were and what we were looking at and why it was lovely and his history of fell walking and why it was important to him, and that was splendid. And we all parted ways at the top, and somehow on my way down, I found myself in the company with the couple again, and we helped each other to the bottom after a couple of wrong turns. Then, on my way back to the hotel, I passed a woman who I'd never seen before, and she asked if I was on my way to Old Dungeon Gill Hotel, because she was on her way to New Dungeon Gill Hotel, where the walk starts. I said yes, I was, and she just handed me some things and said, would you please take these to the hotel and ask the hotel to hand them off to, you know, such and such and so and so. And she doesn't know me from anybody. I could easily have stolen her things or not have bothered, but how nice. What a wonderful kind of trust that is. So I took her things and obviously saw that they got to the right people, but it just was lovely. Oh, my sheep fans are back. Look at this. Look at this. What are they doing? I don't know what they're doing. They are drawn to me. I'm a sheep magnet. Anyhow, other things I know that I would like to stay at this hotel sometime. It was a lovely place with, when I went to order my pint, there's a, wood fire burning and a soggy spaniel drying himself by the fire, because dogs are welcome at the hotel and people are walking their dogs all around the fells. The beer was good, and I love a place with history. It's a starting off point from so many excellent walks. So it was exhausting. I'm not sure that I would want to engage on something quite so strenuous again right out of the gate. Maybe work my way up to it. I didn't really know what I was getting into, but I'm glad that I did it. It was a lovely experience. I think this is a beautiful part of the country, and I certainly intend to come back. But what I intend to do in the immediate future is make my way back to Windermere, say my farewells to these sheep, make my way back to Windermere, and find something nice to eat, but only after stripping off my shoes and socks, possibly burning the shoes. I'm not sure if there's any way to save them, putting on a clean pair of trousers, and find my way to something nice, which hopefully will include beer, because the one that I just had was excellent, but one beer is never enough, is it? Hello, sheep. Sheeps.